Good morning, everyone. We're letting people in here to this webinar, but I think we're going to give it a few more minutes to just let people get in here. So hope everyone has a lovely morning. Both me and Megan, who's our guest today, has our a lot of lights on because it's dark. It's dark even in Ireland.
It's so dark, but don't worry, I think it'll change. I'll get a little bit less blue, hopefully.
Yes, thank God for lights. So I think we're gonna start off, and I can just let people in when they come. So hi everyone, and welcome to this fourth edition of our webinar series on recruitment marketing. And before I introduce today's guest more thorough, I would just like to give a short brief on who Invoice is and who I am. So Invoice is one of Sweden's largest digital agencies, working with, we have specialists in design, copy, web development, and foremost inbound marketing and sales, where we have our core. And with that, we have been helping customers for around 10 years with their customer journey, helping them develop how they work with sales and marketing through HubSpot. And in the beginning of this year, we became HubSpot Elite Partners as Sweden's first agency. So that means that we are really doing a lot of cool stuff with HubSpot. And with that, I'm so excited to have Megan as our guest today. Just short on me, my name is Annika Bagge. And as mentioned, at Invoice, we now work with a candidate journey in the same way as we do with the customer journey, using HubSpot and other tools to work more effectively and qualitatively with the customer and candidate journey. And I run this department, as we mentioned, as we call it, recruitment marketing. And before that, I was the marketing manager at Wise Group, who is one of the Nordic largest HR groups. And we're so excited today to have Megan O'Keefe here, who is the employer brand program manager at HubSpot, placed in Dublin, Ireland. So with that, I just want you to have the opportunity to introduce yourself. Welcome.
Thank you, and thanks so much for having me. I guess to kind of just, build on what you mentioned, my name is Megan. I am based in Dublin in Ireland, so I'm going to try and speak slowly because I can tend to speak a little bit too fast as an Irish person, but stop me at any time if I'm talking too fast. I am based in HubSpot's Dublin office, so in the EMEA region. I guess before I go into the HubSpot piece, I'm a marketer. I know we're talking about recruitment marketing and all things employer brand right now, but I have about 8+ years experience in the marketing world. So before HubSpot and employer brand and recruitment marketing, I worked in marketing roles in the B2B and B2C industry. So the automotive industry, the outsourcing industry. And I guess it was in my previous role prior to HubSpot that I started doing recruitment marketing and employer branding without really knowing that it was a thing, to be honest. We were a lead generation team, nothing to do with recruitment marketing, but I was actually doing some kind of on the side, not knowing that I was doing it. At that time, I was actually a HubSpot customer, used HubSpot software and tools as a marketer, and then kind of just fell into the world of employer brand at HubSpot. So I'm there close to 3 years now, and I love it. I kind of focus on the EMEA and the APAC regions, so it's really, really exciting. And if anyone doesn't know who HubSpot is, we are a software company. So we were founded in 2006 in the US, in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And we basically have a mission to help millions of organizations grow better. And we do that through our software. So sales, marketing, CRM, and customer success software. And yeah, we're just growing really, really quick, and we're really, really happy to be here and to have great partners like you too, of course.
Thank you. And with that, you are a very exciting guest for two reasons. Of course, being a part of HubSpot, who is our partner, but also because you have been working very successfully with your own employer branding. So what we're going to talk about today is both that and inbound recruiting, as mentioned, how you can work in the same effective way with your candidate journey as your customer journey through the awareness engagement phase. And we have around 25 minutes now for me and Megan to have a kind of a Q&A and hopefully answer some questions for you. But you do have a chat function, so please feel free to ask questions at any time, and we will kind of sum up around 9:30 and answer all of your questions and just sum up. So we aim to be finished at around 9:45. So let's begin. Recruitment marketing isn't, would I say, as known in Sweden yet as in the rest of the world. How would you define recruitment marketing?
It's a good question, and I think there's a lot of different answers, and it would probably vary depending on who you asked. But basically at HubSpot, we say that we're building two products. So we're building one product for our customers. So that's all of our tools and our software, that you would use, our customers would use, and our product and engineering teams are kind of building and working on. And then our second product is our culture. So we build that for our employees. Culture is really, really important to us. We spend a ton investing to make sure our culture is, great, it's inclusive. And basically, I think recruitment marketing is just us selling our culture in the same way that you'd sell a product or service. So as I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, I'm a marketer, so I never, studied recruitment marketing or employer brand. I don't even know, can you study that in university? So really, I view recruitment marketing as marketing. You're just marketing a different product. So in the same way that you'd attract, convert, engage your customers, we're doing that for candidates. So really at HubSpot, we are doing everything that a marketer would do. We're a fully kind of built out marketing team, and we're marketing our culture to try and, tell candidates, hey, this is why HubSpot's a great place to work. This is what makes us different. This is why we think this might be a great opportunity for you. So long answer short, I think recruitment marketing is absolutely the exact same as product marketing, just, instead of customers and a product, you're marketing your culture, your company, your values to candidates. So I don't know if it's kind of an okay answer, but I think it's pretty similar.
Great. Yeah, I think it's a great summary of how I see recruitment marketing as well. So thank you. And given that you work more globally than we do, how would you say this kind of mindset of working with talent acquisition or recruitment marketing is known in the rest of the world, or the EMA that you have kind of experience from?
I think it's interesting, right? Because in the US, I think it's a fully, known kind of profession. I think if you, search on LinkedIn, it's a known profession. There's lots and lots of roles in recruitment marketing or employer brand. In Ireland, not so much. People don't really rely on recruitment marketing or employer branding, in the way that they should. For example, Ireland is quite a small country, so you'd know the top companies that are hiring. If you were an accountant, you'd know these 4 companies hire. If you were in tech, you'd know these are your options. And kind of word of mouth, and kind of just being a small country would kind of just allow you to know where your options were. I think that's changing now because the war on talent is just so intense. I think a lot more companies are kind of only realizing in the last year to 2 years in Ireland, at least, that, you know, they need to invest in some recruitment marketing. You can't just put up a job on your website and say, okay, we're going to get a flood of inbound applications. Like, it doesn't work like that. Yeah. So it's no longer just a case of, okay, I'm hiring, like talent will come to me. I think people are really figuring out, like, I need to build a strategy, I need to engage with people, and I need to make a real effort to kind of, you know, tell a candidate why they should consider my role at my company. I also work with the DACH market a lot, so in Germany, and I think it's a lot more popular there. So I think it depends on the region itself. Some regions are, you know, very invested in it, they know the importance, and some might be a little bit more behind. And I think Ireland, for one, is definitely a little bit further behind than some of our other friends in Europe. So I think it varies where you go.
Yeah, great. And what you mentioned, the strategy and kind of the processes you need to have to work effectively with recruitment marketing. What kind of methods and tools would you say you need to work with today to have an effective talent acquisition function?
It's a hard question, right? Because there's a whole lot you can do. But I think if I was starting from scratch and if I was entering a new market, or if I was a new company looking to hire people, the first thing I'd probably do is do some persona research. And I know people are probably saying, okay, that sounds like it's really, really hard, or like it's a big undertaking, but it doesn't have to be. So I think the first step is kind of understanding your customer in the same way you would do, you know, if you were marketing a product. So survey some people internally, you know, in their department, like ask them simple questions like, you know, what apps are you using on your phone? What websites do you go to? You know, when you're not working, where do you like to hang out at the weekends? Things like that can really help shape your strategy going forward. So I definitely recommend some persona research. And then we're really lucky at HubSpot. We have a document called the Culture Code. One of our founders, Dharmesh Shah, created it, I think in 2013, but basically it's a huge slide deck, and it kind of goes into who HubSpot is, what our culture is like, how we operate, our values, what's important to us. And basically, you know, a customer, a prospect, or a candidate can look at it and kind of understand what's important to us, you know, what really makes HubSpot tick. And I think that's a really important thing for us in recruitment marketing, because we can share this with candidates and they can get really pumped up and say, oh, you know, I would love to see myself here. I love the flexibility. I love the autonomy. And, you know, I really want to apply for a job here. Or candidates can look at that and say, no, not for me. I don't want to, you know, engage with HubSpot. That's not a place where I could see myself working and kind of doing well. So I think that's not something everyone needs to have, but having some sort of a document where everyone knows what your culture is like and what you're kind of selling, so everyone's on the same page, is really important once you've done that market research. So that could be, you know, a PDF, it could be a slide, and basically if you were going to ask 10 people in your company what's our culture like, they should kind of have similar answers based on that document. So I think that's really helpful, I guess, as a starting point. And then if we're to go deeper, like on the actual tools, if we're talking like social media, like we pretty much do everything depending on what needs to be done, what market, you know, what departments are hiring, what are our headcount numbers like, and what regions. So basically at the start of every quarter, we'll sit down and we'll make up a plan for every region, and we're going to say these are like the top 5 to 6 things we're going to do in each region, in addition to like the ongoing stuff that's always happening. So our team has invested a lot into paid social campaigns recently. So we do everything from LinkedIn ads. LinkedIn Pipeline Builder is a really great tool that LinkedIn has, where you can basically get in leads for your roles, which is really, really good. We do events, we do like paid YouTube ads, we do display ads, we have you know, video tools for content creation, we have a careers blog, social media. So I guess the answer would be, you kind of need to do a multi-channel approach, right? You kind of need to have a couple of different tools in your toolbox, I guess. Some of those can be completely organic and free, and some, you know, if you have budget, can be paid for tools. But I don't know if that's answering your question.
Yes, it's totally the answer that I was hoping for. That toolbox is something that I talk a lot about, that's what you have to use to be successful within recruitment marketing or talent acquisition. And that touches very much upon the awareness phase. But I know I often get questioned about the engagement phase and candidate nurturing. Let's just deepen into that, because I usually say that inbound recruiting is one of those tools in the recruitment marketing toolbox, and that could be very useful within candidate nurturing when they have converted into being interested with working with you. What are your experience about candidate nurturing and inbound recruiting? Is that something you use?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. You know, we need to nurture people pretty much all the time. You know, there's so many great opportunities out there for people. So nurturing is something that we're focused on a lot. And we do that in a variety of ways. I guess the first thing, whether it's an event that we're putting on so we can invite some of those leads who might be kind of warm and kind of nurture them that way, or whether we're creating some, you know, blog content for our careers blog, whatever platform you're kind of using, I think the most important thing is to be authentic. You know, going back to the persona research piece, like, is this candidate going to be interested in what you're sending them? If someone's going to reach out to me and say, hey, like, here's a blog post with 6 reasons why you should join HubSpot, I'd probably be like, what? I have no interest in this. Why are you sending this to me? But if someone's going to say, hey, here's 6 closing techniques to do in your next sales role or something like that, you know, I'm probably more likely to engage with that content. So I would make sure your content is authentic and just adding value. So instead of just cramming your company down someone's throat, kind of think, how can I add value to this person based on, you know, their own goals? Do they want to become a better salesperson? Do they want to switch career and join tech for the first time? Really just add value and be authentic. So some of the things that we do to kind of nurture and keep leads warm, try and convert them, one would be events. We do events a lot, and basically, without going too much into the details, we'll do an event, a webinar like this, and we'll basically obviously have the email list and everyone will get a tag. So in our HubSpot portal, in our CRM, everyone will get a tag, and then we can kind of, you know, build out a workflow from there. So Annika has attended our event. Hey, we actually might think you might be interested in this event coming up, you know, next month, or we actually think that this blog post on this topic could be really interesting to you. So depending on, you know, the vehicle we're using, we'll build out a workflow. You're going to have that tag sitting on your profile that you attended this event, that you did XYZ, and basically we can attribute that, you know, if you join the company, if you become a hire, we can say, okay, this is, you know, the ROI for this event or for this piece of content. But it kind of varies depending on, you know, your market audience and the region and the kind of tools you want to use, I guess, to nurture them. But my tips would be, do your persona research, be authentic, and add value where you can.
Great. And the great thing with the recruitment marketing is that is supposed to be a method where you really should work with performance, so that you tend to always measure your return of investment and really have a result-driven journey with your candidate journey. Do you have some success stories to share with us upon recruitment marketing or inbound?
Yes, I actually do. And spoiler alert, Annika did tell me that this question would come up. So I actually have just 3 little slides that I can walk you through. And they're just some of the examples I already shared, but they're just things that we found useful to kind of convert, and we've ultimately made hires out of them. So let me just, can you see that okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So the first thing, as I just mentioned, I went ahead of myself a little bit, would be events. So our, you know, talent acquisition and our employer brand and recruitment marketing team are really, really big into events, because, you know, you get to connect with people, you get to get their contact details, so they're converting into a lead, and you can add some really valuable content and kind of, you know, engage with people really easily. So these are just some of the examples that we would have done recently. The first one up here was a masterclass we did earlier earlier in the year, and basically we got senior sales leaders from Germany and Ireland, and they met with sales professionals and did really, really in-depth masterclasses on topics that sales professionals wanted to grow in. So that was great, and people kind of attend these events and think, okay, like I want to work with that leader, right? Like I think that this person is really smart. I would love to learn from them and work with them. So things like that, adding value, is really, really beneficial to us. We also do events for, you know, software engineers. It's not all sales. Here's an event we did last week, and it was targeting women in sales. It was just a fireside chat like this. But again, we're getting those leads in. We were able to nurture people who came to our previous events last year, and we're able to send them a ton of follow-up content now because they're in that workflow. And then not just to, yeah, go.
Are you using HubSpot when doing that?
Yeah, so basically you can do a couple of things. You could create just a form on an existing page on your website if you have HubSpot, and you could get people to sign up, or you could build a custom landing page. So you could kind of build out a mini page, you know, for your event. So your graphics, your agenda, and just have a form, and then that'll go directly into your CRM. And you can kind of like build and trigger a workflow. So that varies depending on who's organizing the event, what kind of strategy they want to go. But yeah, it's really, really easy to do. And then they're
it doesn't need to be HubSpot, of course. I'm asking.
No, we also sometimes use Eventbrite. Sometimes it's kind of 50-50 because if talent acquisition are running the events themselves, they'll use Eventbrite because it's easier, right? They might not have the time to build a landing page in the same way I would if I was running an event. But again, if you do it on Eventbrite, or if you do it on any events platform, I guess Zoom either, you can download your list and you can basically upload that into HubSpot. And in the same way that we would do it if we built the landing page in HubSpot, we'll just create our list in our CRM, and we'll add a tag, and we'll just basically identify, like, you know, this person attended this event. And then of course, going forward, you know, like our follow-up emails with the recording and stuff are all sent to that list from HubSpot. If people are being invited to the next event or are being, you know, entered into a workflow, that'll all be done within HubSpot. So that's events. The other is social media and our careers blog. So we have social media profiles that have been really, really helpful for us in recruitment marketing. So this is our Instagram. We have almost 31,000 followers, which is a huge number. But we actually have people who start, I would say, monthly, and they say, you know, I joined because of your social media. So we'll show everything from, you know, a deep dive into employees, who they are, what projects they work on, and what makes them tick. We'll kind of celebrate, you know, our award winners, our great people. We'll promote initiatives, you know, around like burnout and kind of just resting and recharging. Or we'll celebrate some of our diversity, inclusion, and belonging programming, because that's really important to us. So just sharing kind of what's going on internally has also been really, really successful for us. Thing is, we can't track that really beyond taking a screenshot when someone says, hey, I joined because of this. Or we'll ask a recruiter, you know, if you hear something like that, send it on to us. And we basically have what we call a smile file. So we have all those qualitative screen grabs and comments from people, because, you know, with recruitment marketing and brand awareness, you can't track everything. So that's been really great for us, and people love having an inside look. That. Yeah, and then on the right is our careers blog. So this is built on HubSpot. It is basically a careers blog, and it goes into snippets of day in the life of a recruiter, of a salesperson, what it's like to onboard remotely, and what it's like being a remote manager. So that's really great because, you know, people can find that content organically themselves and become inbound leads. Or if we need to, you know, recruiters can send that out to candidates they're sourcing either. So it's kind of helping the inbound and the outbound piece. So that's been really successful too, because we can kind of do that value add piece that I mentioned. And then lastly, this is a video content tool that we're using. If anyone has heard of it, it's called iSIMS Video Studio. We used to be called Altru, but basically it's an employee video tool And I can say, Annika, tell me what a day in the life is like. I can nominate you to answer that question. You record a 60-second video on your phone, send it across to me, and I can basically do a whole host of stuff with it. So this is one of the videos in Japanese on one of our career sites. Job description, so we can embed it into our job description. We can share them, on HubSpot Life, multi-channel approach. And then another thing, which we haven't talked about yet, and I'm probably talking for too long, is your employees as ambassadors. This is someone who filmed a video and then they shared it with their network. So we're getting these videos. Employees are sharing them with their networks about what it's like to work in a certain role, what the culture is like here, what it's like to be a remote employee, all these different things. And we can actually attribute hires to this. So this is a screenshot of an email, and it basically says, we shared this video on X day. 3 weeks later, we had someone hired, and as a direct result of this video. So that's something that's been really successful for us too. And again, you don't need to have a fancy tool, if your budget is smaller, or if it's just not somewhere where you're able to kind of invest right now. Just start getting your employees to kind of talk about your culture, and in the same way you'd get your employees to talk about your product you're selling, get them to talk about your culture, what makes your role unique, and to share it with their own networks. Because at the end of the day, as a company, I could say, this is why you should join HubSpot, but it's going to be more organic, and people are going to trust hearing from an employee more compared to a company. So employee ambassadors have been really helpful for us too.
Yeah, that's the best value you can have. And if you don't have an event-based kind of organization, or you can use the way you mentioned you work with events, you can do that with kind of a guide or a video, right, as well.
Yeah, you can do it with absolutely everything. So maybe you don't want to do an event, maybe you want to create like a PDF, or maybe you want to create a short video. What you can basically do, and again, it's probably less effort than an event, you can build a landing page and you can basically like gate content. So that's something that we're exploring right now with our talent acquisition team, is maybe we record a piece of content, maybe we create a guide, maybe we create an infographic. Let's build a little landing page and let's put it behind a form. So by doing that, you're getting leads into your CRM, which can then be entered into your workflow. They can be nurtured, they can be engaged with. So that's something that's been really, really helpful for some recruiters and talent acquisition in the past, is quick piece of content that someone's going to want. They have to want it if they're going to fill out a form. Yeah. And I think in Europe, in different cultures and different regions, some people are more hesitant to fill out a form. I know in Germany, people are a little bit more hesitant to give their data. So it has to be good content. That's kind of the catch there. But you can, pop it behind a form built with HubSpot and get their details and get them into the system.
Great. Is there anything else, because you've been really successful with your own employer branding work? Is there something more on your employer branding work that you want to share with us, results, or do you have anything more to share on that?
I think the one thing that I would say is we don't have all the answers. We're really lucky. We have, great culture to tell. Like I'm biased, but I think HubSpot is a great place to work. We're a big team. We have 6 to 7 people just focused on employer brand across the world now, which I know is really, really lucky. We don't have all the answers. So it's kind of trial and error and just giving yourself that grace that you can fail at stuff. So right now we're putting a ton of money into paid campaigns and trying out different channels in different regions. So I think not having all your eggs in one basket is really, really great. And just trying new things, trying new partnerships, paid campaigns, events, written content, leaning on employees. There is kind of no secret, and it'll really vary for every different company, depending on who you're trying to attract, your region, your unique, value proposition. So I have no secrets that I can share. It's just kind of trial and error and kind of giving yourself that room to fail or succeed.
I think that's the key. Both you and me being marketing professionals in an HR environment, I think that's something maybe we can help with, just pushing to have more of that gut to actually succeed and fail, because that's how you grow to be successful in the end.
And what I should have said is, you're giving yourself that space to, fail or succeed or grow, and like you're testing things out. But if you're doing something like an email, maybe you're doing a newsletter and you're trying to nurture people that way, like there are tools you can use to see if things are going well or not. Don't just kind of say, I think that went well, or I think that might have gone terribly. If you're sending, for example, emails to people in a tool like HubSpot or any tool that you're doing it with, you can see what's my open rate like here, or how long are people spending reading my emails? Are they clicking on my links? So there's like little things you can do to see if what you're doing is, working with people or not. Same way if you're building a landing page, you can see like what's the traffic like, what's driving that traffic, is there actually people coming to the page at all? So if you can lean on kind of the tracking pieces for whatever you're testing out.
And what you have to do then, if you see something is not working, just to kind of tweak your content, try different channels, or what are your recommendations there?
Yeah, I think that, and it'll depend on, exactly what you're doing, but like, can you be a little bit more quirky in your tone? Do you need to be a little bit more serious in your tone? Can you do a better, email subject line? I think the good thing, and this is for anyone who is either a HubSpot customer or not, like maybe you've no interest in HubSpot, we have an incredible blog. So we have a marketing blog, and we also have sales and customer success blogs, but there are, I would say, thousands of blog posts on, how to write copy better, how to get people to open your emails. There's just so many resources out there. So, you might be in recruitment marketing, but don't forget that all of the marketing blog posts that are written by experts are really, really helpful and are going to help you, decide what to test out, what not to test out, what you might want to do next. And also, we have an academy of again, hundreds and hundreds of free courses. You don't have to be a HubSpot customer. You don't have to be considering buying HubSpot or anything like that. You can go on there and basically take a course in anything from how to close deals, if you're a sales professional, to how to write better, email copy or social media copy if you're in marketing, or even things like personal brand. So I definitely check out the academy if you're in need of some like free courses.
I can really recommend that. I've taken a lot of your courses and they are really easy and accessible and free. I mean, that's so great of you to help inspire and educate the world within this. It's really, really great. And I can also recommend following you on Instagram. That's an experience as well. I won 100 of, what do you say, 33,000 or how much?
31, just under 31.
Yeah,
you're giving us too much.
I'm one of those, and hopefully after today you will have some more. It's really inspiring to follow you. Before we just open up for questions, if you would have 3 arguments for using a marketing automation tool within your talent acquisition strategy or your recruitment marketing strategy, what would those 3 arguments be?
I think the first one would have to be that you have the ability to use a tool, whatever that tool is, from end to end. So from right at the attraction phase, right to closing and converting a candidate, a marketing automation tool can really help you do that, be it creating, your blog or your social posts or anything like that. It can carry through to the nurturing phase and right through to closing candidates, which is really, really great. So it's not something you'd need to do, okay, I need to use this tool and then also integrate with this one and also have this one. Like, you can basically use it as a fully end-to-end platform, which I think is really, really cool, and saves you time, right?
And I think most marketing automation tools today are easily kind of merged into the ATS system, that an open API to kind of connect them together, right?
Yes, definitely. So I think that's really great. You can kind of do everything in one spot. I think the second point would be you can collaborate and kind of scale things easily. So, if you're using a tool like that, you can pull in different people from your teams. They can kind of work and collaborate on things with you. So it's not like you're doing something in a silo, which I think is really good, especially if you're a smaller team and a lot of the heavy lifting might fall on you. You can really collaborate with your team members, and you can kind of lean on people in, that tool's world if you need help. So we have some great user communities who kind of support each other, and they answer questions and they basically kind of share best practices. So I think having that community that comes with having a tool is really, really helpful, and having access to some of that information. And then I think this one's like HubSpot. This is the HubSpot one. But the third kind of argument would be it can grow as you grow. So if we're talking about HubSpot in particular, our tools are free up to a certain level. So there's certain, you can use our CRM, you can use some of our other marketing tools. You might be a small company. As you grow, HubSpot can grow with you. So it's not like it's, an insane amount of money because, you're a company. We really have a mission to help, millions of organizations grow better. And, small to medium organizations are a huge part of that. That's kind of what HubSpot was built on. So it can kind of grow with you as you grow, as you need to, up your package because you're growing as a company and you're doing really well. Like HubSpot can move through that stage with you. It's not like it's out of reach if you're a small to medium company, which I think is really good.
Great. Thank you so much. And just to sum up, I would say what's really been the core of this session, do your candidate persona work, really get to know your target audience, and use trial and error. It's better to do something than nothing, and it's okay to not be successful the first time. Start small, and there are a lot of great tools that you could use to help you support in this doing this work for you, and it doesn't need to be kind of very expensive and very complicated. And with that, actually, we do have a question on the video tool you mentioned. We can absolutely send that out. We will send out a short survey after this webinar, and we will send the presentation, and we can also send a link to the tool, but you can just mention it again, Megan.
Yeah, so it's called iCIMS Video Studio. So I believe that they have an applicant tracking system. They have a whole suite of recruitment kind of software, but the video tool is what we use. And basically, you can do a whole host of things. You can send someone a request to do a video. It'll come straight through to you. You as a marketer can approve that. In the tool, you can add some branding. It can then integrate with your website, so you can add it to a job description to give people kind of a flavor of the job and the work that they might be working on. There's also a Google Chrome extension, so you can, give your talent acquisition team access to that. And basically, if they're sending emails or outreach or anything like that, they can kind of embed videos directly into their content for nurturing purposes. Or you can just share it with your team and get them to share on their own profiles. And LinkedIn in particular is where we've kind of seen the most benefit. So I can definitely send the link and some bullet points in the slides for that for anyone who's interested.
Oh, that would be lovely. I think I got really curious about that tool, so we would like to visit and see how that can work for us. Is there any other questions before we kick off this Tuesday? Just write in the chat. Everyone is very excited about the presentation and the link for the video tool.
No worries, it's a great tool.
Yeah. So any more questions to Megan? Or me, for that matter.
Maybe while we're waiting for a question to come in, I think one thing that you shouldn't kind of forget the importance of is just leaning on your employees and getting them to do, share absolutely everything on their channels. We're really lucky that people at HubSpot really love to share stuff like that on LinkedIn. So I would lean on your employees if expensive tools aren't something that you can dip into and don't have the budget for. And you can do that by kind of telling them the value, like, hey, Annika, if you share this on your LinkedIn, we'll actually find that great marketer you're looking for your team. So things like that really are beneficial. They're harder to track. You can't always say, this person's LinkedIn post made us a hire, but that's, where we've had great success, is kind of leaning on our own employee community to kind of amplify our messaging.
Great. We have one very interesting question. Will HubSpot create an ATS soon?
That is a good question.
Good question.
I think the thing is that people are using HubSpot as an ATS right now. Annika, I know you're working with customers on this, so like feel free to jump in a second if I don't cover this right. But people actually are using HubSpot as an ATS already. They're basically just using our CRM and all of our tools in the same way you would for your prospects if you were, you know, a sales professional. So in the same way that you might move your deals along through phase to phase, you can do that with a candidate. So everything, if you're using the whole suite from attraction right through to engagement to nurturing through to the interview process, you know, you can trigger workflows. You know, if this person passes this interview, move them to the next phase. You can kind of do everything right through to when they might convert into an employee and sending them feedback, you know, surveys or anything like that. So the long story short would be people actually are using it as an ATS already. And who knows, maybe there's more to come here.
Interesting. I think it's really the same kind of process you use, so it should really be easy to do that. One more question. How transparent are you in your employer branding work? For how much are you using ambassadors versus how much are you using company communication?
Yeah, that's a good question. And to be honest, HubSpot is transparent about absolutely everything. It's one of our main values. It's what the company was built on. So like, I know you're probably saying, okay, she's lying, like she works at HubSpot, but we really are built on transparency, and that's absolutely everything. Like leaders share decisions, you know, why they made a certain decision. HubSpot is publicly floated company, so all employees were granted access as insiders so that they can share transparent information with us. Basically, we're just very, very transparent. So when it comes to employer brand work, like we would never say to someone like, hey, I think you should post this post because it'll help us, or, you know, I think, you know, you should do XYZ. What we really kind of dig into is like, this is a really exciting piece of content, or this is great news for us as a company. So say take an award win. If we win an award, we're really excited about that and we want our employees to be excited. So we basically, what we do is we have Slack rooms, and you can basically join any Slack room you want. So we have one dedicated to culture. Some people love finding things out about, you know, our culture, latest news, and we'll basically just say, hey, news just in, blah, 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 blah. And we'll share some lazy copy. So we might put like a sentence or two with that post. If people want to copy and paste that and kind of amplify that messaging, they can. Sometimes people do that. Sometimes people are just really, really happy and want to share the news themselves. So we're very transparent. You cannot, I think, anyone who's worked with like employees and trying to get them to be ambassadors, you can't force anyone to do anything because they won't do it. Like they have to want to do it themselves. They have to know the value in it and kind of understand that. So we kind of spend a lot of time, you know, explaining what that value is. And then just make it easy for people to share stuff if they want to. If someone wants to share some great news, it's going to ultimately help you, you know, as an employer brand marketing professional. Just make it easy. Don't make it hard for them to find this information. Make sure it's in a really, really easy to find spot. So we would never ask, we don't have a formal ambassador program. That's not something we have, and that someone has to do something. We just make employees know the value and make it easy, and then they kind of just share themselves because they're excited, to be honest.
Lovely. And again, your Instagram account, your employees are very personal on your Instagram account, showing them how they wake up in the morning and doing coffee. And
people love that. You know, it doesn't have to be something like LinkedIn, like Annika said. Like we'll let an employee take over Instagram for the day. They'll show like what they're working on, their personal life. We also do just features. You know, we have a Google form and you might answer 5 questions. We'll share your photo and a little bit about you. So it doesn't have to be anything like too formal or too stuffy or too restricted. Like we trust our employees to say whatever they want to say. You know, they're all great people. We trust them. So we definitely aren't an organization that have like rules or a formal ambassador program or anything like that, because one of our other main kind of values is like use good judgment. You know, you're an adult, like do what you think is right, you know. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yes, and thank you so much for being with us today and sharing all of these great inspiring stories and knowledge. And thank you everyone who participated, and hopefully I will get back to you soon with another episode. But for today, just a huge thank you to Megan, and to all of you. Have a great day, and we will send out both the presentation and the link to the tool. Have a great day.
Having me.
Yeah, thank you, Megan.
Thanks.